So, baby reindeer, I'm going to be talking about why I believe both of them have a little bit of delusion and why I think they're using it as a protective mechanism. And I'm also going to be talking about demons and why I believe people need to believe in demons and understand how they operate. Okay, so buckle up. There's a video I did just before talking about the twin flames, why I think they're twin flames and how society is just a corrupt jury at the moment that just has a lot of issues and should not really be commenting on the lives of other people when their own lives are a complete mess. So let's get into why I think they're both a bit delusional, because what can be seen so far, and I think is a fair conclusion to be made, is that despite Richard Gadd, the guy who wrote and then also played himself in Baby Reindeer, also Baby Reindeer himself, that the way he depicted the show after saying that it was a true story and the information that is actually available since it is a true story are not quite adding up. It's also fair to say that she clearly, in my humble opinion, or whatever they had some kind of weird relationship, which I'm describing as a twin flame type of vibes, right? Go and check out my first video on twin flames if you want to know what I believe twin flames are and why they are a thing of the devil, and definitely not what others would call like a soulmate. So, I believe that both of them have got themselves to a point where I'm going to just try and believe in this fake reality slightly and as a protective mechanism, so I don't have to actually address who I really am and what I'm really going through and how I really feel about myself. The reason why I say that is because I have a very close and personal relationship with the Lord, and one thing it's taken us a long time to develop, I actually believe this is the single factor why I have such a strong relationship with God and other people struggle, is I really come to God with everything. I do not pretend in the eyes of the Lord. I do not try to make myself, because I know He knows everything anyway. And I think that's also why people like to live in the delusion, I don't think God is real. Because if you now accept that God is real, you now have to be confronted with even if you can hide your true self from everybody else and your demons and your issues and whatever you're going through, you can't hide those from God. And I honestly think that's one of the reasons that people really struggle with the Lord. It's one of the reasons why I'm so close with the Lord, because I open up to Him in such a way that He's able to go in and do the work in all the various different areas. You know what I'm saying? And it's why I as time goes on, I'm just happier, and I truly am just living such a grounded and healed whole life experience, And so I believe that they're doing what I believe a lot of people do now, but the thing is, they're just confronted in a way that maybe they didn't expect. So I think Richard Gadd underestimated the public, because again, we're all very ignorant. We're all not as smart as we like to think that we are. And that's why this whole eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was actually just a freaking waste of time, wasn't it? But anyways, so I think he underestimated how this was going to go off and the public and how they would react. I think he thought, I'm going to write my story as this art piece and I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to just let the world hear my story and, whatever. I don't think he realized the society that he was dealing with. And I also don't think he was as mindful as he should have been of the people in the show. Because here's the other thing, guys, and this is something again that is very unlike the world, right, to think. And I know it's a very godly thing, is that, listen, facts ain't misinformation. If somebody's done something for real, sharing your story and sharing the truth should be fair. I think that we have done so much in society. I was literally just before hearing a story of this guy who was saying how, he was sexually assaulted in a church and how his mother told him not to tell anybody ever. And I was just thinking, this whole thing that we do of just covering everything up is just so unhelpful for society, because if that person did what they did, they did what they did. And guess what? Whether they get held accountable now, they're going to get held accountable on Judgment Day. Oh, some of us are looking forward to that day, by the way, because I feel some of us may only get vindication on Judgment Day for certain things. But the thing I want to say is that when God reveals to heal, I'm literally so drunk off the Lord. It's insane. I am so drunk off the Lord. Oh gosh. And so um when things are revealed, I think that forgiveness is for everybody, and everybody deserves the right to I don't like how we like always have to have a good guy and a bad guy. I hate good guys versus bad guys, and I actually don't believe in good people. I actually believe the only good person was Jesus. I believe life is about choices. Things are going to happen regardless, and you choose whether you want to be a winner or a loser. If you want to have a victor mentality, you become a victor. If you want to have a victim mentality, you become a victim. That's what I believe. I don't believe in good versus bad. I believe in winners versus losers, because frankly, the reasonings and the background as to how people got to where they are is something that you don't have the right to actually judge people. I'll give you guys an example. I'm using Tana because I'm just getting to know her for the first time like now, and I really like her as a person. And honestly, if I had grown up with her circumstances in Las Vegas the way that she did, I would have turned out the same. And I've just found it interesting because I've always heard what people have to say about her, and without actually getting to know her for myself, you know. And she's really developed now because she has people around her that love her and look after her. She has a support system, because that's what we're supposed to have. And this is what I'm saying about society and how quick people are to judge, because people don't realize the place of privilege that you're sitting in sometimes when you're having these thoughts and opinions and calling somebody good versus bad, or thinking this person is better than that person, or this is the hero and this is the villain in the story, or whatever. That's another thing another trait about humans, about Homo sapiens, that I truly don't appreciate about us. You know, like, you'll be quick to judge somebody off of the outward appearance, right, of the outwardness of what you see of them. You don't know what circumstances led to that. That might be an absolute miracle for them to get that far. And that's one of the things I have wrong with religion these days, and how a lot of religious folks will pride themselves off of, I don't do this and I don't do that and I don't do this. Now, if we're saying that when the transformative power of the Lord has changed you in such a way that you have freed yourself from things that you feel like are unproductive, great. That's the point of, you know, the transformative power of Jesus. If we're saying that I'm better than you, or you're worse than me, or I'm good and you're evil because based on what you're doing or what I'm seeing, it's a very big issue that I have, because you don't know how somebody's doing and how they're saying. You don't know what somebody's been through, to be honest with you, to be sitting there judging on your high horse of self-righteousness, right? Just like the Pharisees. Society is very pharisaical. I can't lie. All of this, you know, trying to look like something that we're not, trying to act like whatever, but deep down, deeply hateful and jealous as well. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, it's like the Britney Spears situation. How many times and how many examples are we going to need for people to wake up? Genuinely, like, genuine question to the wider public. How many examples are you going to need to wake up? Seriously. But we'll use Britney Spears again. Again, Britney Spears. What's the dealio with her and her parents' society? Oh, they hear all this stuff about her. They ignore the fact that she was there, ironically, doing a Las Vegas residency, right? I really want to go to Las Vegas, by the way, so badly. She's doing a residency in Las Vegas, right? She's teaching her own dancers. She's on lithium that she's been prescribed from her, that ironically her grandfather had her grandmother on, and now her father has her on. So again, you see, why are these things, why are they going through, what is this force that seems to pass on certain things? The demons. And we're going to talk about the demons in detail. I'm building up, guys. I have to build this up because I have to build a basis so that when other voices try to come in your head or in other people's, that this demon stuff is crazy, there is enough stuff to combat those thoughts, because the enemy does not want people to hear the truth. So this is why I make very long videos, and I make multiple of them, and I talk in detail. That's why I do it, and I will continue to do so, because it is important so that people can hear in detail. So Britney has all of the chain down of events, right? She's on lithium, right? Her parents and her conservatorship people telling everybody, oh, she's off the rails. Her dad's all bestie buddies with TMZ. Who the hell on earth wants to be bestie buddies with the TMZ? As in, like, you know, telling them stuff and leaking information. And now the world again is swayed. Oh my gosh, look, poor parents, look, must be so hard for them. We need to tell Britney what to do with her money. We need to tell Britney what to do with her money. And I find it funny how, like, society is so entitled to money that isn't theirs. Like, Britney can do whatever the freaking hell she wants with her money. It's her money. I don't care if she blows her money. That's why it's funny, because I was watching Michael Jordan's documentary, and because you guys, if you don't know, I love me some Jordans. Like, my shoe collection is just heels and Jordans. That's just, there's no in between. I don't do flat shoes. I just don't do normal flat shoes. I'm either gonna, if I'm gonna keep it classy and cute, we're gonna do a heel. We're gonna do a heeled boot moment, whatever we're gonna do. And if we're not doing that, we're in Jordans. The only other time I'm not in the heels or Jordans is functional shoes, like dance shoes, like my tap shoes or my roller skating shoes, or, you know, running shoes, you know. But anyway. So I'm watching the Michael Jordan thing, and I laugh because people were saying, oh, Michael Jordan has this gambling problem, blah, 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 blah. Listen, bro is an icon. Bro is an icon who changed the game, no pun intended, forever. And he got filthy rich, went on to, like, coach. Wasn't he coaching another team? I can't remember which team it was. I don't know if he's still coaching them. If Michael Jordan wants to spend millions gambling, let him spend his millions. It's his money. Like, people are so bitter. Like, people are so bitter to see, so, like, let him live. The impact this man has had on the world, I believe the impact he's had, the way he's inspired others, the way he's taught others people's work ethic, the opportunities that he's created. Let the man spend his money. But of course, society's like, oh, he's got a gambling problem. Don't you just love this world so freaking much? Like, isn't the world just, like, such a fun place to be? So, yeah. All of these people, right? See what I'm saying about society? So everybody's talking about Britney, like, oh, yeah, she needs to be in a conservatorship. We need to tell her how to spend her money because she can't look after herself. She can perform a Las Vegas residency. She can perform a Las Vegas residency and teach her own dances while on lithium and while in a conservatorship and while being told what to do and while going through hell all at the same time and having to battle because her kids are being used to keep her in check, and all that she wants to do is be a mother. And she wanted to focus on her motherhood, and she can't even see her own sons because they're being used against her because the public opinion is deeming her parents are so good and so loving, and oh my gosh, it must be so hard for them to have to put up with somebody like that. It's must be so hard for you. This is what I'm saying about this whole nature of sides that we sit on in society, good versus evil. Because let's look at her, Britney, for example. Winners versus losers. She's freaking won. Sis was like, I'm going to do all this myself. Her music video for Give Me More, she's the one who freaking directed that. She recorded that herself with her friends in the bar. In the bar. She is the one who had the ideas behind her music videos. She, when she was pregnant and stuff, she still wanted to make music. She was like, I would bring the little baby cots and things in the studio. And anyways, she was that good that she could just come in the studio, record for 30 minutes and be done. The whole song, and the song is done and dusted. Sis did not need no help with nothing. She's a winner. She's a freaking winner. And the rest of the people, losers. Freaking losers. Spending their life. And this is what I'm saying. That's why they have to create these delusions. This is why delusion is like a fundamental part of narcissism. You create a fake reality because in reality, think about it. Her parents, again, the Delulu. Delulu is the Salulu for these people. For losers, Delulu is the Salulu. Delulu is the Salulu because if they don't have Delulu, then they have to be confronted with themselves. They have to be confronted with themselves. Right? and see themselves as a victim. I was thinking about this with my friend I was telling you guys about, the one who's booked 3 musical theatre jobs in 3 different countries this year. Absolutely insane. This girl speaks 3 languages, and when we were there, when I was with her in Italy this exact time last year while we were singing, I remember that while we were singing in Italian and English. Me and her talking in English, her learning scripts and practicing in German. In German. She is now going to be, and you know what I realized today? I was thinking about it. I actually truly believe that she is a true winner, because the reason why she's doing what she's doing and she's able to bag 3 shows, she's such a hard worker, and I actually think her life has been harder than mine in a lot of ways. I really do, and I believe the fact that her life was harder and she has a winning mentality is why she's like ahead of what I've achieved. You know what I'm saying? And that's me being real with myself, rather than feeling like a victim, rather than being like, oh, I wish I had this and oh, I wish I had that. I'm inspired by her. When I'm here, you know, doing whatever I'm doing, and she's calling me and she's telling me we haven't spoken in a couple of months, and she's like, yeah, I'm just finishing. She just finished her show in April that she's been doing since October last year, because that's why I went to see her, because she had a week and then she was about to be off touring again. Call her. Oh yeah, so I've just finished the show now. Yeah, I've booked 2 other shows this year, because she booked agents in other countries as well. I'm like, okay, winners versus losers. See what I'm saying? I could be the little jealous one here, talking about you're so lucky, talking about I'm like, I need to level up. She bought me this shirt, actually. She bought me this top. And look at this. I was looking at this earlier. I love this detail. And do you know what it says on here? Dominion. It's just so crazy that I decided to wear this shirt for this video. She actually bought me this while I was there, which I thought was cute because she thought it would suit me. Yeah, so winners versus losers. Like Britney Spears is narcissists have to believe in a fake version of themselves, right? Because they have to create this other thing to believe in rather than being true to what their actual situation is. And that's why the further that we go into delusion, the closer we get to narcissism. Because, and I've seen it at work, that's why, you know, these people, like Britney Spears' parents, right? Yeah, all they need is for the public, the jury. I'm going to start calling the public the jury. All they need is the jury, the public, the jury, to believe their story, because then when the jury votes now, you see why I hate the what I'm going to call the injustice system. If the jury is swayed, then the decision, the verdict, is in favor of whoever can capture the jury. And that's how narcissists work. They get enough admiration from people so that they're treated in the way that gives them that, like, you know, narcissistic, like, dopamine hit that they need of being adored in a way that they don't feel like they actually truly deserve, and they deep down know they don't deserve. But B, it gives them a version of themselves to believe in that is more comfortable to believe in than the actual version of who they truly are, which is exactly what I'm saying with this baby reindeer thing about how I'm not saying they're narcissists. Let me be very, very, very clear. What I am saying is I see elements in how everything is going down of maybe some strategic, willful, partial, protective delusion. Because again, our brains are actually wired for survival. And this is why I love when people say to me like that they act like I'm out of my mind, and I'm like, I hope so, because I want to have the mind of Christ. Thinking about that today when somebody said about that I need therapy. I was like, it's so funny. If you think I'm out of my mind, thank God, because I need the mind of Christ, because the way my brain is set up is that in order for me to survive it, if my brain is calculating that me accepting the truth about something is going to cause me severe pain, my brain has mechanisms to block memories out, and my brain has mechanisms to help me believe in a delusion so that it's easier for my body to function and all of that. So our brain, as great as it is for survival, and interesting that we're talking about survival and the brain, and we obviously have our good old buddy pal L. Ron Hubbard, who is very much into all of that. By the way, guys, I was just thinking about how absolutely random my book collection is. Look at this. L. Hubbard. Britney Spears. This book, which I'm going to be reading from, which is about demons and deliverance. What else do we have here? Let's go through all my books. I've got the Quran. I've got this Adolf Hitler Mein Kampf book. I've got Of Love and War. My book collection is crazy, but you can tell where I'm getting a lot of this information from. And of course, cannot forget to mention, where is it? The absolute most important of all, the Bible. I can't wait to buy a new Bible. I'm going to buy a new Bible. When I get out of this, I'm going to buy a new Bible, bro. Because, anyway. So, what was I saying? L. Ron Hubbard and the mind, right? So I found a lot of interesting things, actually, that he said about the mind that is true on a scientific level, about how just it's like a machine that needs programming, computing, and so on and so forth, and whatever, which is obviously why in schools, where schools are indoctrination camps, the more that I think about school, especially as a teacher myself, the more that I've realized that the way in which school operates is not like teaching to learn, which I was telling you guys about how this is what Hitler was talking about in his book, and he was on to something with that, right? That it's not teaching people to learn, it's teaching people to recite information. It's creating an already swayed jury. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? An already swayed jury. So when I start to bring ideas to the table, such as demons, for example, we have been conditioned and programmed. Our brains have been programmed because we are told information. Like I keep saying to you guys about this myths and legends thing. Oh, such and such is myths and legends. Such and such is not real. This is fact. This is fiction. It's programming. Because now your brain goes, oh, this fact, this fiction. Programmed. Do you guys see what I'm saying? This is why we can't trust in this. And this is why when the options in the Garden of Eden were not the knowledge of the knowledge of good and the knowledge of evil, the two trees. There was the knowledge of good and evil, and then there was the tree of life. Because knowledge isn't actually going to necessarily be beneficial to you, even if you know about good and evil. And guess what? Knowing about good and evil doesn't make you good either. In fact, knowing about good and evil can help you to be even more evil. Because that's what I believe L. Ron Hubbard was doing. I believe L. Ron Hubbard observed a whole bunch of things. He realized the situation he was working with. He's like, I've traveled around the world. I've seen all these things. I've seen especially spiritual things as well. I've seen spiritual things. And I know that the world isn't going to believe this stuff. No one believes it anymore. But I'm going to utilize the fact that people don't believe this stuff and people are not going to believe this stuff. Excuse me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I understand what is actually real, how society is programmed, and I'm going to take advantage of that for my own personal gain. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that society already thinks like this. And this is why I've been throwing Hitler versus L. Ron Hubbard against each other, especially in terms of their writing styles. I can't believe I'm in a phase of my life where I'm reading. I always hate reading because all the books in school are not interesting. I don't want to know about some random story, some random love story. I want to hear some stuff. You know what I mean? Engage my brain with something. That's why I love the Bible. The Bible engages my brain. You know what I'm saying? I love the story arc for me. I'm in my reading era. Oh my gosh. Okay, so my mind just goes crazy places, But anyway, and I was thinking about the difference between the two, and I was thinking that what's interesting to me about Adolf Hitler is that they both identified the same thing, basically, about humanity. It's just the way that they went about it was completely different. So he identified that for him, and I'm not saying that I agree with him, I'm just saying that this is what he's saying, that in his country, that there are people who have done a number so that the public have been swayed in such a way that they don't even understand, because he starts off just talking about language, just talking about the language and the language being used. And this is why I think it's insane. I kind of need to get my friend to teach me some German, to be honest, because I need her to teach. And the funny thing is, she was like, I'm helping her with her English. I'm like, wow, I'm doing literally nothing in this life. 3 languages, and I'm just here that's what I'm saying, guys. I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy to be here. I don't know how I get to be here, but I'm happy to be here. And so his take on it is that he doesn't like that people are so easily programmed, and he wants to be a critical thinker, and he wants to encourage critical thinking, and he thinks schools should encourage critical thinking. Whereas L. Ron Hubbard's angle is very different, because L. Ron Hubbard is like, I know all this stuff and I can see this for what it is, but I'm just going to let you all be idiots, and I'm just going to take advantage of it, and I'm going to be the critical thinker. Because if you think about it, the fact that he even writes about the brain and how the brain can function and whatever, in and of itself, again, it's the knowledge of good and evil. Good and evil. Those powers can be used for good and they can be used for evil. Do you see what I'm saying? They can be used for good and they can be used for evil. If that makes sense, right? And so that's just something that I find really, truly fascinating. And again, super revealing about society today, and why us as humans really are not to be trusted in. Like, this is what, do you see what I'm saying? Everything points back to God. I don't know why that's not like, I don't know why that's so hard for people to understand. You know what I'm saying? That's why God says the tree of life, you know, Jesus, you need life, because when you have a relationship with God, he's going to guide you on a journey in times where things don't make sense. Just like how I say to you guys all the time that my prayer with the Lord is, in my darkest moments, is always, I say the scripture, trust in the Lord your God with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your path, right? I just had a really cool idea, but it's something I'm definitely not going to do, but it's a really cool idea. But anyway, he will make straight your path. He will make straight your path, right? Because your path is not going to be straight without him. And what you're going to do and how your jury is going to be swayed is going to be off, because you're looking at things in a natural sense, and the foundation and the root of what's happening isn't what is seen, but in what is unseen. Just like how a tree is rooted in the ground and plants, but the roots are unseen. The spiritual world is unseen, but it is the root of what is happening in the natural world. And that's why us playing judge and jury is not for us. This is why the Lord is the final judge, because he's the one who sees everything and knows everything. So he's the only person who can actually ever judge fairly, which is why I also believe, right, to a large extent, it's not our place to judge somebody, because you don't know their circumstances. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know. This is why I hear people out from their own words, because you don't know, right? Like, I remember there was I see these stories of like where, and these are some of the anxieties that I have, where there was like a woman and she was complaining like, my daughter won't let me be there at the birth of her my grandchild, and I want to be there at the birth of my grandchild, and blah blah blah. And then people are like, oh, that's so sorry for you, that's horrible, like she should allow this. It's like, but do you know why she's not allowing her? Maybe the daughter has a good reason. You know, I have one of my friends, she's pregnant again, God bless her. My other friend, she's pregnant, she's got, her daughter just turned 1 and she's pregnant again. I was like, go off, queen. She's in her motherhood era. And she's had this issue as well with people, just the entitlement, and the reasons why she doesn't want people around her children are the exact same reasons I don't want people around my children, and the people that I don't specifically want around my children, same as her, the same exact circumstances, right? And so, but obviously a lot of this stuff is not stuff you're going to be telling everybody all day, every day. So again, whose place is it? It's the unseen. Do you see what I'm saying? The unseen is what's adding context to the scene. If you saw the things that went on behind the scenes, this is why TV and entertainment is great. I think it's great. I wish people believed in it, because it gives an opportunity for people to actually see the truth of what's going on in a way that they can visualize it, in a way that they can actually visualize it and see the world for what it is, for real, see the root of where these things are coming from. So I've just spent about like maybe 17 minutes between this video and the last video, like 65 minutes, setting the foundation for the demons. Now we're going to get into the demons and why I believe in demons and deliverance, because I believe that all of this stuff is happening because the demonic kingdom is having a whale of a time right now getting us to be contaminated. I've used this example so many times, and I'm going to use it again from one of my favorite men of God. And he talked about why the period of, this whole unclean thing in the Bible, right? Which I find really interesting, because I've said why I find that interesting. When I was talking about the whole period thing and how, being on your period you're considered unclean, and people being upset about that in modern age. But I see the vision of the Lord. He's saying, I believe, like I've said, our periods are a time where whatever is already inside of us is being amplified as an opportunity for us to pray for healing, do whatever deliverance we need so that we can keep ourselves emotionally in check, since we are like the nurturers of the world as women. We need to keep our own emotions in check, and we need to make sure that we are not spilling out any types of things onto others. That's why I believe your period is a time to actually do a bit of self-evaluation, and that's why I believe our hormone, God created us so that our hormones would be amplified in that time, our emotions be amplified, so that we can see what's actually inside of us, so we can deal with it. And I think it's healthy, because the people of Israel, that's what they had to do. God instructed them, not just the women, but in other ways to deal with being unclean. And in this teaching by this man of God, he talks about how when the 4 stages of defilement, right? And how the first stage is when you become contaminated. Contaminated is when you're no longer in a state of perfection, right? And the second stage, and I feel like that moment of initial contamination, also the start of entropy in the universe, in my humble theory, was Adam and Eve in the garden, and Eve, contaminated, boom, contaminated. And the second stage is you become, this is going to get so interesting. What is it? Contaminated? Contagious? No. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the word. It's a C word as well. It's not contaminated. Hold on a minute. I can't remember the word, but first of all, it's contaminated. Like, something is around you, it's touched you, and you're no longer in a state of perfection. The second one, I can't remember what it is, but it's like when it starts to actually affect you. So it's actually seeping into you now. Then you become contagious. You then take that contamination and you're now affecting other people. And then the final is corrupt. You now identify with that thing as something that is just a part of you. So I always use anger as an example, because I think it's more approachable for people. First of all, you become contaminated by being around an angry person. And then you start to be a little bit angry. If you don't deal with that anger, you can start to be angry around others and start to be contagious to other people. Eventually, you will just identify yourself as, I am an angry person. Now, a lot of these I am this, I am that statements that people make are actually the names of demons, by the way, which we're going to talk about in the next video. That's why I've got this book here. Where is it? Too many books. This book here, because it's about deliverance, pigs in the parlor, and in here it talks about all the different demons, how demons enter, and that's what we're going to talk about. That's actually exactly what we're going to be talking about, because this is what I believe is what's happening in society. This is why I believe the world is the way that it is. I believe that everybody's corrupt, everybody's contagious, and everybody's corrupt. And we're contagious, corrupt people walking around, we're a contagious, corrupt jury of people walking around, contaminating everybody else, and then no one's cleaning anything up, because it's like the stupidity that I hear from people when they say, "Oh, I didn't shower for 2 weeks, or I didn't do this for this length of time because it doesn't look dirty." Listen, when you've looked through a microscope, you'll see the world in a very, very, very different place, right? Like, oh, I didn't do this because I couldn't, it looked clean to me. Yeah, we all looked clean. Our Instagrams look clean. We all look clean taking these photos on our holidays and out and about and whatever. We all look clean. I would love to see that. Do you see, this is why I don't really care about how I look on the outside, and I don't care about what people think about how I look on the outside. Because honestly, if we were to all be seen for what we are on the inside, listen, that would be interesting. But yeah, so I think that this is just another example. This whole situation with the baby reindeer and all of this and malarkey is another situation that is just revealing something that is in our faces that we need to just accept and just go run back to the Lord immediately. And that if we actually want to solve these things, like if we're actually serious, then we need to just start believing the truth for what it is, and actually finding the snake and killing that stupid snake that just causes issues and then disappears, and then we're like all out here trying to find things, trying to deal with things, cutting things down but not destroying the roots. You see what I'm saying? But anyways, I'm going to get into this in the next video, so you're going to want to buckle up for that one. You're going to want to buckle up for that. Stay tuned. If life's a game, of course, let's play to win.